So I've made several videos in the past week and a half, 2 weeks about Unicorn Overlord. It is a uniquely amazing JRPG. It has what I would call hybridized gameplay. I want to thoroughly recommend it, wholeheartedly recommend it to any RTS or turn-based JRPG fans. It is more fun than it has any right to be. I want to go ahead and get into some details about it so that I can recommend it a little better. I'm going to show some footage of a early game battle to go along with this. It was one I fought last night prior to recording. I'm not sure when this will air. So the game itself is broken into two basic parts. Like I said, it's definitely has what I would call hybrid gameplay. There is your exploratory phase where you're just freely walking about the map as your main character, interacting with towns and characters, interacting with side characters that offer side quests and missions, which are almost always battles. Which we'll get to because that is the second part of the game. While you're doing this, you can armor up your characters, you can weaponize your characters, weaponize and armor up. You can buy weapons and armor for your characters. I don't know where I was going with that. You can buy items, you can do deliveries to the different towns that you free over the course of the game and basically upgrade the towns, repair the damages that the evil empire wrought during their occupation. And then you get to the battles, and the battles themselves are the meat and potatoes of the game. You spend much more time prepping for the battles and playing the battles than you do any of the other parts of the overworld exploration. Excuse me. The battles themselves are also broken into two parts, and both of those parts are pretty nuanced. There are quite a few layers to them. I almost would call them skirmishes over battles because the units in this game are much more unique than what you're used to. You are actually commanding units on the battlefield rather than individual characters. So each of your units is made up of, they started with 2 characters in your unit, and you can, as you gain heroic points, you can unlock new units and you can unlock additional characters for said units. I'm at the point now where I can have 4 characters in each of my units. I have 3 units now with 4 characters in them. It takes quite a few points to upgrade them further. You cannot open up the 5th step until your army rating gets higher, which means I am going to have to get significantly further in the game, and the points required to open up more slots in your squads get much larger, as exponentially bigger. That's what I was looking for. So part 1 of the battles is on the same map as the overworld. When you initiate a skirmish, it grays out a section around the battle that you're fighting, the skirmish that you're dealing with, and units that you'll be battling are placed on the map. Then you can use valor points to bring your units into the field, basically. Most battles have at least one NPC character that you control as well, or maybe about half the battles, and then you bring in your units as time goes on. During this phase of the battles, you are moving them in like an RTS. You highlight them, click where you want them to go. They have special abilities called Valor abilities you can use if you have enough points stacked up. You build those points by defeating enemy units in the stage. So as they're moving around, the enemy units are moving around as well. You can occupy certain areas on the map to replenish your stamina and your health. You can track down little sparkling icons on the map to gain items, on occasion new recruits, I believe. There's a fair amount to do on these maps. Now, when you one of your units intercepts an enemy unit, you go to the second phase of the battle, which is intriguing. It's actually what turned me off initially to the game, and I'm so glad that I gave it a chance regardless. It is basically an auto battler. It's basically an idle game when you get to that part. So there is some setup involved, but when you initiate the battle, your squad of characters, we'll say 4. We'll use an example that has a shaman and a archer in the back row and a swordsman and thief in the front row, in front of the characters respectively. They each have passive and active PP, points per turn, that they can use. Battles only last for 2 or 3 turns, and then you go back to the main RTS screen. The winner stays in position, the loser gets knocked backwards if they're not completely killed, and they disappear off the map if they were killed. If they do get knocked backwards, they're also immobilized for a short period of time, so you can arrange a follow-up attack is the best way to put that. Now, so when you're in this auto battler, they will take turns, the 2 squads, using up their active and passive points. A passive point, for example, would be one of the shaman debuffing one of the enemy characters. A passive point would be the soldier using his guard skill to block an attack against the archer. Another passive skill would be the thief using his dodge ability to automatically avoid a single attack per turn, effectively acting as a not a damage sponge, but a distractor, I guess is the best way to put it, because he's not taking damage, he's just avoiding damage, but he's provoking and then avoiding. And then your active abilities are your basic slashes, your overhand attacks, your mage attacks, your archer or arrow barrages, that sort of thing. As your characters level up, they gain new skills. Now, prior to these battles, anytime during the overworld gameplay part of the game or the RTS section, and the RTS is a full pause, so anytime you click a unit, the whole screen stops. So it is not a demanding RTS, we'll put it that way. The characters have what's essentially a gambit system from Final Fantasy XII. They have parameters that you can set for their various skills, what will trigger them, and when and how they'll be triggered, which ones are more important, which ones take priority over others. It goes everywhere from stealing with your thief when everybody's full health to automatically blocking an attack, prioritizing blocking attacks as one of your phalanx units, to prioritizing using your fireball spell as your mage against low hit point enemies, to it goes on and on. But there is a fair amount of nuance to how you can set up your units. You can really min-max them if you want. I imagine there will be a very niche group of challenge runners of this game who attempt through min-maxing and character loyalty and things like that to finish the game with, bare basic equipment, or you level up automatically by defeating enemies, so it'd be really hard to do a low level run unless you just skipped all of the side content. I don't know, I'm sure there's quite a few different ways that they could come up with ways to go about that. So yeah, once the turns battles are finished and the units are defeated, then you're given the option to continue moving in the real-time section. Every battler or battle section or stage, as they call them, has a victory condition. It's almost always defeat the boss, who is at the far side of the map, so you just work your way along. Your defeat conditions are almost always lose your base. I have only been threatened with a base loss once so far in the game, but I am playing it on normal difficulty also. So yeah, once you beat the boss, you collect your spoils and your rewards, and then it goes back to the main overworld map, which it's the same map, but it scales back to not being a skirmish, and all of the enemy factions that were on that part of the map disappear, and then you can freely roam it and collect items that are scattered across it, and liberate the individual towns and start rebuilding and access their shops. and then it's just a rinse repeat across the map. I am almost, well, I'd say I'm about 2/3 of the way through the first large area of the game. There are 5 rather large areas in the game. I'm told it takes a minimum of 40 or 45 hours, upwards of 120 to finish this game. I am about 15 hours in, 12 hours in. So yeah, there's a lot of game here, a lot of fun to be had. And like I said at the beginning, I urge any JRPG fan that's been on the fence to give this game a try. It's on sale right now, or at least it was a week ago. I don't know if it still is. It was like $42, something like that. Pretty reasonable for a 120-hour kick-ass RPG with beautiful mechanics and graphics the way they have this thing set up. So anyway, just wanted to run that by everybody, let them know it is definitely worth the buy, worth checking out for sure. And yeah, I hope you come back for another one. Click all the buttons, leave some engagement in the comments if you like. I'd appreciate it, and take care.